not get very far in this game.
Yeah. Just so you guys know, we're live on Twitch right now. In case you're wondering, I'm just trying to get levels right.
Because like some of the other people actually had some cool sounding names, and then I'm just Max. Yeah. Because like some of the other people actually had some cool.
But in preparation, I did read how it ends.
Yeah.
And it seems like you kind of suck until the very end. Like your whole thing is like prevent the shining way from opening and the dragon, and the dragon shows up, and I guess you beat him. I'm guessing.
Seems like you kind of suck until the very
sounds like you sucked.
Like your whole thing is like prevent the shining way from opening and the dragon, and the dragon shows up, and I guess you beat him. I'm guessing. Seems like you kind of suck until the very
sounds like you sucked.
Like your whole thing is like prevent the shining way from opening. And
I really should have picked it back up after. I haven't played it in 3 weeks, and that's kind of terrible on my part.
It's gonna be hard to talk about, Pete.
Yeah, I'll remember stuff. It'll be fine.
I gotta be honest. As soon as we started talking about Zelda, I just went and played that. It's real good.
On my part.
It's gonna be hard to talk about. Pete.
Ocarina of Time is one of the best games ever made. God damn it, that game is so good.
I ended up going out and buying it for 3DS too. I already have it on the N64.
Yeah, I got my
it to
N64.
play, so I got it so I could play while I sit on a bike at the gym.
I got my N64 kicking just to like compare it basically, because I bought it. I bought it and Majora's Mask together, because I remember not liking Majora's Mask, so I'm curious. I've got to finish Ocarina and then I'm gonna switch over.
All right, let's see here. Do you guys want to get Audacity going?
I just started it.
Okay. Audio always comes up better if I have you guys record separately and then load it up afterwards.
Don't tell me what to do.
I've also used multiple MP3 recorders, and then I was using God, what's it called? Fuck, now I can't remember the name. Zencaster. I was using that for a minute towards the end of my run.
Any chance your show's going to come back anytime soon? Or is work still kicking your ass?
I mean, I have more time-ish. I want to do something. I just am torn between just doing a solo show, which can sometimes sound kind of dull because you don't have that dynamic of people talking. Though I have done some solo shows and they came out okay and the reception was fine, I sometimes feel like that's harder, especially because you got to come up with all of the content for the show, and like you don't have any idea and anybody bouncing the ideas back to you. So one of my good friends, he lived in California up until about a year ago. They moved to New Mexico. But he was like, yeah, I basically have a free open schedule. He likes playing video games and he likes other nerdy shit. So I was thinking of doing something that was less just video games and more kind of whatever, like nerd cornucopia. But he agreed to do it, and we started talking about it. But then it was like every time we tried to get together to get something started, it just didn't happen. Or I kind of have been pushing it off because I've been enjoying not having to do it. But I'm kind of thinking about if I do go back and maybe just doing bi-weekly so that I don't burn myself out so quick.
You can always get on what our plan whenever the fuck we feel like it.
Yeah, we're in episode 28 and we're approaching our, 4th anniversary?
Something like that. We're the worst.
Yeah, I did 99 and we went just over 2 years. And it was good, but there was like episodes that kind of like going back and listening to them, they're definitely just kind of filler episodes. Like we didn't really know what to talk about, so we just kind of pulled something out of our ass. And me and my co-host were good enough at bullshitting that we could kind of flub our way through an episode and it would come out okay. And most of the time people didn't complain or anything, but there were times where you could tell we were just reaching for stuff. And I don't want that because it's lower quality.
The first maybe half dozen episodes you had Dune on, where he kind of talk like this, and you can.
Oh my God, he drove me nuts, man.
I was like, God, just stop having him on. Just stop having him, please. He finally got better, but it was terrible.
It took a lot of poking and prodding for him to like figure out how to set his shit up and get proper equipment and stuff. But it's like I felt bad for the guy because he kind of helped us get it off the ground.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He gave you topics
towards the end,
too,
I was
which
like,
nice.
yeah, yes, that was always good. So I don't know. I don't have anything set in stone, but I still want to get back into it. I just haven't put my foot down and done it.
All right. You guys ready to hit record on Audacity? We're gonna do it at 0 on a countdown from 3. That way we're all synced up.
Okay.
Ervik, you ready?
Yes.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. That's going.
Okay.
And everyone's got deflection.
Yes, I have a ring of deflection +2. Nope, that's a lie. I do not.
Oh,
I'm
great.
not
We have to
deflecting.
start over again because of you.
Yeah.
You're a
Well,
terrible
I don't
person.
know why it's not deflecting. Why are you Audacity? God damn it! You have one job.
Is the
Yeah, I know.
deflection?
You just seeing your voice come across on the meter.
Oh, yes.
God, oh, son
Go
of a
ahead
bitch.
and stop it and delete that. This is the only thing I ask you to do every show. The only thing.
Yeah.
I do all the social media. I do all the editing. I do all the prep. All you have to do is press record, dude. Just once.
I did.
Just
I
once,
did
be
that.
ready.
So I did my job apparently. And why is it not? Why are you not doing what you're supposed to do, son of a bitch? Let's just restart you because you're giving me the lip.
Did you set it to the right mic?
I only got one right now. I unplugged the other one. Didn't show up.
You got to make sure you're plugged in before
Yeah, the
you start
drop
Audacity.
down's right, but I restarted it, so I'll give it a second.
All right.
All right, let me start it. All right, there we go. I had to I'm gonna restart it one more time just because it's. But yes, for some reason it didn't. I had started it before I switched mics, and even though I did the drop down, apparently it didn't like it. But it should be ready.
Islaine, do you want to present any of the news articles?
I think I would prefer that you just do it because I am out of practice.
No problem. We just kind of wing it, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean, it would be the same, but
I can do it. It's fine. I'll do the green ones too. All right. Are we ready again?
Yes.
All right. Ervik?
I mean, we'll see what happens.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. How's it now?
It works.
Oh, good. I'm glad I'm going to have to listen to that.
Yeah, that was for you. That was a gift. Gift for the family.
All right. We will transition the screen. And we'll get started in about 5 seconds here if you guys are ready.
I am ready.
I am also ready. My body is ready.
We'll do the Wayne's World countdown. In 5, 4, 3. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Return of the Retro, episode 28. I am your host, Randark, and with me this week, as always, is Ervik. Say hi, Ervik.
Hi, Ervik.
Every week we make that joke, and yeah, if it was a weekly show, it'd be every week, but it's not quite. But we have a special guest for you this week. It's Islaine, formerly of the Couch Podtatoes podcast. Say hi.
What's up?
So what do you got going on in your life right now, Islaine? Anything you want to present to the people? Tell them who you are or anything like that?
Well, as you mentioned, I did run the Couch Potatoes podcast for a couple years. Our last episode came out in, I think, August of last year, so I have been on hiatus for a long time. Kind of thinking about getting back into doing it. I will probably start something up. Yeah, I would hope this year. I'm not going to set anything in stone, but potentially that. Also, I write the blog Me Versus Myself and I, which you could find at gdub4.wordpress.com.
Cool. I haven't been reading blogs in a while now. It's just been too busy and just don't have the time to write mine or read any others. So
It happens.
yeah. But what have you guys been playing? This says we're going to start with Eric, but I'm actually going to go to you. Since you're our guest, you can go first, Islane.
Recently, let's see. I backed, I'm sure you guys have heard of it, the MMO Crowfall that is currently in development. It was on Kickstarter, I don't know, 2 years ago. Still in development, obviously, but they are letting some of the alpha and beta testers in to test some things out. So this is, I think, maybe the first time I was able to, because they had separate groups depending on how much money you pitched in. You got in earlier. I was one of the cheap asses that just bought a copy of the game, basically. So I was in like the last test group that got allowed in. I'm not sure when they exactly let me in, but I got an email the other day and it was like, okay, I can do it. So I checked that out this weekend. So far it looks pretty cool, but yeah, it's alpha. Very alpha. There's like nothing to do, at least in what I was trying to check out, like the server that I jumped on. I literally ran around for like 10 minutes and didn't see anybody or anything to kill. You don't have any equipment. I'm just like, what the fuck? But there's not an NDA, so I can share my thoughts. So I guess that's a plus. But yes, it's definitely early in development. Cool looking game though so far. I mean, I know I like a lot of the concepts they've presented up to this point, but you know, it's a in development kind of thing, so you never really know until it's about to come out. When they actually say it's like beta, then you could pretty much consider it a finished product or close to it. So we'll see how that goes.
That's cool.
Yeah. Otherwise, I've just been usually have at least a couple games that I'm playing pretty regularly, lobby-based stuff. I was a big League of Legends player, but I haven't really touched that in quite a while. I've been playing Smite instead.
I like Smite more myself.
You know, honestly, I didn't at first, but the longer I play it, the more I'm like, this kind of suits me better. I feel like I'm better at it.
I feel there's more of a challenge because you actually have to aim versus, you know, how the top-down stuff. Win. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, skill shots are still present in League, but it does feel a little more, I don't know. I think it's just because if you play MMOs or anything else like it, and most modern games are kind of a third-person 3D perspective rather than 2D stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get what you're saying. Also, the same company that makes that game,
is it Hi-Rez
Studios?
Yeah.
Yes. They just put out. Well, it came out a while ago on PC, but they switched gears and have started developing it on PS4 as well. The game Paladins, which is kind of like Overwatch. I mean, that's like the closest game you could compare it to, but I feel has a little bit more depth than Overwatch.
Good, because the one thing I had a problem with Overwatch is, besides the online community, which is just as bad as League of Legends and any of the others.
I was going to say, you can't... online community can be leveled at every online game.
Right.
They're all garbage.
That's not anything different there, but I played for a while and there wasn't enough to do in it. It got repetitive quick, so...
Yeah, and that's, I think, where Paladins might be a little bit better, because instead of just picking your character and it has a set of skills and that's pretty much it, it kind of takes cues from MOBAs in that instead of, well, there are items to buy, but those items are the same for everyone, and there's only a limited amount. You can buy like one of each row of items. It's like defensive and offensive and etc. Those types of items are there, but then they also took the cue of, I don't know where they pulled this out of their ass, but they decided to throw a card game aspect to it in there.
Oh,
so
weird.
You collect cards for every character, and those cards affect their abilities. So if they have, they have their basic attack, 3 other active abilities that you can press a button for, and then an ultimate ability, right? So you can buy cards or craft cards or just open cards from doing shit in the game, and it opens up new things and ways to tweak those abilities. So your ultimate now does something a little bit different, or this basic attack now does this, so passives, or just, for instance, one guy I was playing yesterday, is a kind of a support class, and he's got this one ability that slows an enemy when he hits it because he uses axes. So he hucks his axe in it. When it hits them, they're slowed. Well, you can buy this card and change it to where they're now rooted instead. So you can kind of like tweak your guy the way you want to play him, which I think kind of adds some depth to it, along with collecting the cards and everything else.
That's pretty nice. I like that idea. I might have to pick that up.
It seems cool. If you're on PC, it's already out. It's free to play. If you're on PS4, it's in beta, which you kind of have to buy into. But it's like an early access Founders Pack kind of deal, and it opens up all of the characters just like the Smite God Pack did.
Yeah, the $30 God Pack. Nice.
Yeah. But I think it was only, I got it on sale for $15, so even better.
That's pretty cool. I skipped the part. I didn't preview our topic for today, so those of you who are wondering what we're going to talk about later, it's we're going to talk about Shining Force, the RPG from Sega Genesis. And Islane's a huge fan. That's why he is our guest today. And he'll have a lot to say about it.
Wasn't it on the Master System? I thought it was Master System.
No, it was on Genesis.
Genesis. I play it on a Genesis emulator.
I just played
Steam,
the emulator. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention.
I bought the Steam version, which has the cartridge actually plugged into a Genesis. It's pretty cool to watch.
This image
I saw
I'm
that
looking
in
at says Mega Drive. Says Sega Mega Drive Shining Force.
Same thing. Mega Drive is Genesis.
Mega Drive. That's true.
I saw a picture of a Mega Drive 2 earlier on Twitter, and instead of a push button power button like the second generation Genesis, it has a sliding switch. It's weird. In the same spot too.
Well, the first gen had a sliding switch.
Right, but
I had first gen.
The second gen had a push button.
Yeah.
I never thought about this. Does the Sega CD work with all the different versions, or is it do you have to buy a different Sega CD for each version?
I think they had an adapter in them to adjust to the different version.
That would make sense.
Oh no! There are two Sega CDs. One is completely underneath the Gen 1, and the Gen 2 is off to the side. My Gen 2 is off to the side with a flip top.
I'm sorry, the off to the side is what mine is.
Okay.
The system sits, well,
there's
it
another
sits sort of
one
off to the side, like it goes kind of like half under, and then it sits over to the side, like it's got like a.
That's how mine is, but there is one that sits directly under the system. It has a sliding tray that comes out in the front.
Oh, I've never seen one of those. I'm looking at mine sitting on the shelf over there.
I've only ever seen it in pictures. But yeah.
Neat.
Urvik, what have you been playing?
Oh man, so many things. Let's see, XCOM 2 currently, which I'm a little disappointed with. It's still fun, but it's missing the soul of the first one. Well, not the first one, but the first reboot. But it's still good. It's a different studio. The first one was Firaxis, and this one's it's still Firaxis, but it's farmed out to some other. It says Firaxis on the box, but if you watch the credits, it was farmed out to somebody. It's fine. It's fun. If you like the first one, you like the second one. It's just more of the same. They didn't iterate on anything, and
the only difference was that you were Earth had basically already been destroyed.
Yeah. They take the worst ending.
To take it back.
Yeah, it is weird, and they take the canonical ending to the first one is that you basically lose, which was weird.
Thanks. I haven't finished one. Thanks, guys.
Well,
you don't get that
I knew
there are multiple endings. That's the trick.
I knew the premise of 2, though. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Like a lot of the missions have timers on them randomly. Like
that's weird.
They put like they've got like round limits. It's like, all right, this bomb's gonna go off in like 10 rounds.
Yeah.
And they like every other mission is that way. And man, I think you know this about me. I hate timers. I fucking hate them. Do not restrict my time.
Especially in a tactical game where the whole point is to move around and get an advantage.
Right.
Well, some of the timers, especially on the harder difficulties, are so tight you have to basically run through enemies to get there, and it just forces you to lose characters. Like some of them, I could not find a way to like strategically approach it. I had to basically suicide a guy in to turn off the bomb, and then he just immediately gets murked, and then the rest of my team mops up and avenges his death.
So what do you do? Just bring an assault squaddy with run and gun?
Yep, shotgun and screaming in there. Because they get one of the perks you get is you can shoot after moving a full move, like a double move. And
Nice.
so you scream in there with a shotgun and hope for the best. Make sure you save first. So I've also played Tales of Zestiria. It's not the newest one. It's the one prior to. I'd never gotten around to. It's been sitting on my backlog. I'm about halfway through it. It's fine. I don't know. The story is.
You sound rather apathetic about everything you've been playing.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna get to the good stuff. This is all like Zestiria is fine. The story is so far very boilerplate and kind of boring. None of the characters really stand out, and there's this weird mechanic where the main character there's two races of people, and the main character can see both races, but he's a human, and every other human can't see Seraphim, was the other race. So just like it's just him looking crazy in front of everyone, talking to invisible people constantly. And the 15th time someone makes the joke like, "You look crazy." Like, yeah, no, we get it, guys. You can stop making that observation at this point. It's fine. The combat's actually a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm hoping the story gets better. Like I said, I'm only about halfway through, so usually they start to pick up a little towards the end. Still playing Magic Online, as it were. The interface is still crappy, but the game is still great. So.
Okay. So I play with cards.
Yes,
with
as do
play
I.
group. I have never tried Magic the Gathering Online. I have tried some of the console versions, or like the old Duels of the Planeswalkers and stuff.
Yeah.
I played some of those, which were kind of meh, and then I played Magic Duels, the free-to-play one, and also felt it was very meh.
Duels is just the
can't
next
see-
iteration of Planewalkers.
Yeah.
I mean, is Magic the Gathering Online more like playing with real people, or is it kind of the same shit?
You only play with real players. There's no like AI. It's just real Magic. But so you buy cards, like a pack of cards costs $3, $3 Like if you want to play,
So packs in real life are about what, $4.50?
$3.50 plus tax. Yeah.
I want to say they're more than that here, but
well,
okay.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah. The store here, the retail is $3.50, but they do fluctuate depending on where you go. Yeah, it costs about the same. You build the digital collection, but the interface has not changed. I swear to God, since 1999.
Jesus.
It's garbage.
So it's like playing EverQuest?
Oh man, I cannot tell you how bad the interface is. But if you like playing Magic, especially drafting, it's you can draft all day, every day, whenever you feel like it, and that to me is worth dealing with it. You can get a pot of 8 people and draft Magic cards like any time, day or night. And that is the best part. The interface itself is terrible. And you will lose games. The first, week you play it, you will lose games to misclicking or, not knowing how something works. Like stuff that's intuitive in paper Magic is not. Like hold priority. Like if you cast a spell and you want to react to your own spell before they do, you have to hold control. And if you don't, you just can't.
Wow.
And there's no takesies backsies. Like if you go to it but what it does too is if you don't know the phases of Magic and the order of the stack, you will learn them very quickly because it is infinitely punishing. In paper Magic, like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to attack with that. Is that okay? Like, no, it's too late, man. You clicked attack all. It's in there.
Yeah, right.
And not. So it will make you a better Magic player. That is true. But it will also frustrate the absolute shit out of you.
I don't want to go and have to spend as much money as I've spent because I took a long break from the game. I hadn't played it in a decade, and I ran into some dudes. We ended up becoming friends. Turns out some of them played Magic. I got a little group going, so it's been fun, right? But I've already spent, God, I don't know how much money on it. In the last 6 months, and a new set comes out this week, and it's like, fuck.
Yeah, I spent $100 this weekend at the pre-release. I played in 3 pre-release events. So.
I was gonna go, but then I ended up having other obligations.
It's actually, I like the set a lot, so looking forward to that. So I played Mass Effect Andromeda.
And
it's not as bad as everyone says.
Good.
I think it's pretty good. All right.
Yeah, everyone's poo-pooing on it. It's the same interface. It's if you like Mass Effect, you get Mass Effect. My only complaint, and it's a minor one, is the stakes aren't don't feel as high. Like the villain is not nearly as memorable as any of the villains from 1 through 3. The nebulous enemy, but I mean, whatever. That's a complaint. I actually really like it. I beat it. I have not I didn't play the multiplayer. The Mass Effect multiplayer has never been something I was into, but the single player was well worth it. I enjoyed it. I beat it, and I'm ready for the sequel. But man, people pooped all over that thing. The internet hates that game, and I do not get it.
They hated 3 too, and I loved 3.
Yeah,
I even liked the multiplayer. I don't know about the new one, but the 3's multiplayer was fine.
I literally just never played it. Like it's basically the Gears of War fills that void for me, so I never.
I mean, it wasn't something where it was like, oh, this is amazing. I wish they would make this standalone. It was just something else to do with the game before I shelved it for a while.
But yeah, if you're on the fence about it, grab it. It's good. I played Zelda Breath of the Wild. I played it on the Wii U because I will not play Nintendo's supply and demand games with a Switch. When they're on the shelves, I will buy one.
I will not play Nintendo's supply and demand games ever again.
Yeah,
I did that with the NES Classic.
I actually thought about it, and then I so this morning they said that the last shipment went to Best Buy. So I was I work from home, so I was like, hey guys, I'm gonna take an hour. I'm gonna go to Best Buy. So I got there. It opens at 10. I drove up there 9:30. I was like, you know what? I'll stand in line. There was 15 people was 15 employees standing out front handing out tickets, right? So I was like, all right, I'll get in line. It got 5 minutes before open, and there's probably at this point when I got there I was 30th or so. There's 100 people.
Jeez.
And the manager comes out and he goes, guys, we didn't get any. And for me, I was like, all right, I took a shot. I didn't have anything to do this morning. I didn't, some of those people, the lady up front had gotten there at midnight or something ridiculous.
Jesus.
But the next, the first 5 people basically got there at midnight, and then everyone else showed up about when I did. But I thought those, the first 10 people in line, that poor manager, he started getting yelled at in surround sound.
Oh, I bet.
I just oh, dude, I do not. And they're like, how are you going to compensate us? And he's like, I'm not.
It's not my fault.
And you were in line for what now? For the Switch?
For the Classic.
Okay. Yeah. I never even tried to camp out. I had one friend who did, and then I looked around, when it released in, what was it, November? I looked around everywhere, couldn't find it, and I was like, okay, whatever. And then they said basically it was sold out, that they were going to resupply at some point. Then they said, oh, resupply's coming, and by the way, it's fucking discontinued. I'm like, great.
I swear to God, Nintendo hates money. People are lining up. You keep making this until some people stop lining up.
Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't get it. Nintendo just hates money. I do not understand.
I really think they're going to take the resources and put them towards more Switch production because there's more money in that. Because
they're supposedly
they're already coming out with the SNES class. Yeah, the next one they're just gonna.
Those are just rumors. There's nothing official from Nintendo yet.
Yeah, well, you're not going to hear anything official till it shows up.
You can also supposedly mod the existing NES Classic and put all the Super Nintendo games that you want on it.
That's the rumor that the rumors I've heard say that's why they're canceling it. Is because of how easy it is to crack open. Yeah. I don't know if that's true or not, but supposedly you can run the entire Wii Virtual Console in the damn thing.
Yeah, I heard that you could do something along those lines.
If you really wanted, though, you would have gone out and you would have gotten yourself a Raspberry Pi, gone to Etsy and got yourself an NES box and bought 2 USB NES controllers and been set for $70.
Oh yeah. The only reason I even tried to get one is because it was rare. I
ended up paying double, plus accessories and shit. I've paid close to $200.
It was so ridiculous. The cord, my friend's got one, and I've played it a couple times. I actually the interface is pretty slick and it works really well. But that friggin' 1.5 foot cord, who the shit?
It's supposed to be 3 feet, but yeah, it's so tiny. Okay, on my desk it's okay because I sit close enough to it that it works, but anywhere else would not work. So
if you play that in the living room.
If you put it in a living room, it's just unusable. You have to buy an extension cord or a replacement Bluetooth,
or pretend like you're 6 again and
just sit right in front of the TV.
Back when we used to get a tan.
Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Played it on the Wii U.
Played on the Wii U. Game is really good. It is not. It's not really a Zelda game. It's more like Zelda Skyrim, which is fine. I mean, those games are both great. But I mean, there's no real like good dungeons randomly. There's a ton of little dungeons and a couple of medium dungeons, but nothing that even parallels to like, Temple of the Wind or the Water Temple or anything like that. Like the temples are all these beasts, divine beasts, and they're all maybe like 4 rooms each or something, 4 or 5 rooms. Like there's no real puzzles. And it's all built around open world stuff, so it's still fun. It's a lot of fun. I played through it. I beat it. I'll probably play through it again at some point, but it didn't scratch the same itch that every other Zelda game has scratched for me. It sort of did a Nintendo Skyrim impersonation, like Skyrim Light almost.
An open world is so overdone right now.
Yeah,
and especially because I just started playing. Spoilers for later. Our next game, Ocarina of Time, I started replaying through, and that shit is amazing. Like that game is like one of the best games ever made. I'll tell you why next time. That game is amazing. And this one, like, it's good. It's a solid game. Like it's fun. I couldn't tell you, like, when I played it, I was like, yeah, this is good. And by the end, I was like, man, I played a really good game, like a solid B+, but it just did not scratch the Zelda itch that I wanted. But it's not bad. It's actually really good. So there is that. I got 2 more on here. Horizon Zero Dawn. I surprised the hell out of me that I liked it because it's based. Somebody just took the Far Cry engine essentially and slapped on an apocalyptic future skin. Like it's the same, like, kill creatures and make a bigger wallet so you can hold more, bombs. So you can kill more creatures so you can upgrade your quiver. Nonsense. But for whatever reason, all the enemies in the game are extremely hard. Like there's no real fodder per se. There's a couple early on, but once you get to the end, there's these huge hulking like monstrosities made of like robot parts, and you have to like for the big ones, you can't fight them with your weapons effectively. You can eventually kill them, but they all have like huge like grenade launchers and shit strapped to them that you can knock off with your weapons, your like bow and arrow and shit, and pick up, and then use those weapons to wreck face. And it worked really well for whatever reason. This Far Cry engine with these like really in-depth battles and strategy. I shocked myself because I thought I always liked the Far Cry games, but they're never like they're like C+. You know what I mean? Like when you need a game to play and you want to like dick around in an open world for a few days, pick up a Far Cry game on sale. Like never pay full price. But this one I really liked it. I don't know why. I don't know what it was. The story was really good. About how
I think you just nailed it.
Yeah.
But I mean, even the story is good, but it's not what It's not what carries you. It's that they got the combat right. When in Far Cry, fighting bears and the occasional honey badger is fine, but it's not engrossing. The creatures in this one, the combat really sells it on top of the story. So I recommend it, especially if you like Far Cry style games. It's really good. And I picked up Rome for free. It was like last month's Games with Gold.
Yeah.
I put it on the list just to tell you how much it sucked. I played like 10 minutes of that game, and I deleted it from my hard drive and wish I could make it unbuy for free. Like I wish they would give me my free $0 back so that I wouldn't own this horse shit.
I've heard I got it for free too. I haven't played it yet, but I've heard it's basically QuickTime the game.
It is. God damn it! It is. It's like someone took God of War and you're like, hey, you know all that parts where you kill shit and then you QuickTime it to death? What if we just strung together the QuickTime events? You're like, fuck, that sounds terrible. It is. It really is.
But we can make it in the time frame needed to be a release game.
Holy shit, it was terrible. Like, and apparently, I only know this from looking through the menus. There's a goddamn multiplayer mode.
What?
And you can. So, oh my god.
Who taps the QuickTime combination first?
I didn't realize how much I hated this game until I started talking about it. There is. So you have to like unlock skills to get better, and you have to earn currency for that, or you can spend real money on every single feat in the game. God damn it. I hate it. Now I'm angry. I'm done. That's the last thing I played. I hated it.
All right.
End on a sour note. Go back and play Horizon Zero Dawn. That game's good.
For me, I finally got my copy of Torment Tides of Numenera. There was a big issue with me getting my copy after being a backer, because they had I must have missed it in an email or something. They had a...
Tell them where to mail it email?
No, I got through that stuff, but they had a security issue, and they had some hackers get in there, and apparently my account was one of the ones that were compromised, and I never fixed it. So for like 4 days after the fact, I think it was about a week before everything got fixed, finally I got handled by their customer service and got my copy.
I'm going through the same shit with Ubisoft, because I have like 3 games on that Uplay thing, and at some point it must have been compromised, and I didn't do anything about it because I don't ever use it. But the other day I was like, oh, I'm going to update whatever, and it's like I can't get into it. So I've been going back and forth with their dude, and they want like fucking 3 forms of ID and like your mother's pubic hair. It's ridiculous. Like, what the fuck? Open my account back up.
Yeah,
don't ever lose your Apple or Google authenticator if you go 2-factor, because pretty sure it requires an anal probing and at least 2 teeth.
Jeez. Some of it's, I mean, I get like they're trying to crack down on people fucking other people over, but you're fucking me over in the process.
I lost a phone one time when I was playing WoW, and I had my authenticator, on my phone.
Fuck.
It's actually not. WoW is not that bad. Like, you just have to email them a copy of your driver's license. That's it. Took like 10 minutes.
That's not bad.
Yeah, so I would have done that easily. No problem.
Super efficient. Like, but then I did this. I lost my Apple authenticator a while back that I had. The 2 form factors. The phone number I had to switch. So I lost that, and that, I swear to God, I still feel their hand up my ass.
When my wife and I switched from Verizon to Sprint, both of us realized at that point we didn't have a good backup for our authenticators. And since then, we now use each other's real phone number and not our Google Voice number as the backup.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, I was playing Torment Tides of Numenera, not Torment Towards of Numenera. And it's really good. It's actually absolutely gorgeous. The background art in this game is amazing. But
is there a talking skull that makes wise?
Not that I know yet. I'm only 6 hours in, which means at my reading speed, I'm probably about 3 hours in for the two of you. I read like a 4th grader. It's just terrible. And the game is basically an entire novel. It's got like 1 million words in it. And
yeah, I've heard.
If you don't mind that, it's fine. My problem is reading has always put me to sleep. So I get to play for like 45 minutes and I'm out.
Man,
well, at least you know what to do before bed.
Right.
I can't sleep if I'm reading. Like, I went on a vacation recently and I took a book with me, a trilogy, and I didn't sleep the whole time because we spent all day out, and then I would read at night because I got really into this book on the like flight over. So for like a week I just didn't sleep. That being said, the Mistborn trilogy is super good, y'all.
Is that Sanderson?
It is Sanderson.
I've been hearing about that on another podcast. Is that part of the Sanderson Humble Bundle? Do you know?
I think it was actually.
I wonder if it's still going on. I'm gonna have to go get it if it is.
I think it was. They're some of the best. We're tangenting here, but
it's Return of the Retro. It's all we do.
That's true. If you've read Wheel of Time, the guy that wrote it, Robert Jordan, died about 3 books from the end, and Sanderson took over for him, and he did a fantastic job cleaning up the weird fetish porn that those books had turned into when Robert Jordan got old. Man, there are like 3. So they're 14 books, and they're all 1,000+ pages. So there's close to like 16,000 pages, right?
If I start that today, I'll be in my 50s by the time I finish it.
Well, there's a TV show coming out soon, so you can just watch that.
Okay, good.
But there are 3 books in the middle where he got like super old and senile, that he just starts. So we're at this point we're like 9,000 pages in, and of this like mythos, and he just stops and tells a tangent side story about these like what are essentially witches torturing each other for information, but like really drawn out descriptive torture scenes. He's just writing like fetish bondage porn, and it's super weird. And then he died. You can read this series of books and just cut those 3 out, and you would not fucking notice. Like they literally have no bearing on the plot. It's just 3,000 pages of weird porn. It's not really porn. Like if it actually turned into porn, I'd be fine. Anyway, he wrote these books and they're real good. The guy that finished the series wrote Mistborn, and they're real good.
To continue with the tangent a little bit, I got Marvel Unlimited, and I was reading comics in bed, and I kept falling asleep while I was doing it, and I had my 10-inch tablet keep falling on my face, so my mother-in-law got me a stand that would go over me while I was in bed. It would hold on to it, so I didn't have to hold on to it myself.
Porn stand. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Hands free.
Oh, it's terrible.
I mean, you can have a stream and read that fucking book. Hands free.
So anyway, Torment Tides of Numenera. Good game. Was worth the money I paid for it. I don't know if it was worth the money people had to pay for retail for it, but for me, it was worth the $20.
I really like Planescape, so I was on my list of things to get. I missed the Kickstarter. I just forgot about it until it was like, hey, we're done.
Let me explain the title to you, because it has no bearing on the story that I can tell so far.
Well, I know Numenera is a knockoff D&D world that I know. Like a free-to-play D&D, like you can buy the books or whatever, but they're like, I think, just like Pathfinder, I think they're open source, I believe.
I'm not sure about that, but Torment is only there to cover its connection to Planescape Torment.
Yes.
Tides and Numenera are both parts of the combat or leveling process. I'm not sure which, because it's kind of foggy on what they exactly do right now, but they're just parts of the system. None of that title has anything to do with what's going on in the story, which also I'm not quite sure what is going on in the story, other than it tells you right away that you are a shedded skin of a god, basically.
Dude.
Yeah, I mean, I heard some positive things about it, but a lot of like it really is, even despite supposedly being a spiritual successor, that it was basically not, which is kind of what you just said.
Yeah.
In a different way.
So I've also been playing a ton of arcade games. I started streaming with a group called the Torchfork Mob. So I actually get a little camera, and you get to pretend you're player 2 next to me and watch me over my arcade cabinet play a bunch of games. I bought light guns for my arcade cabinet, which are awesome. That was quite expensive, but they're cool.
What kind? Oh man, what kind?
Light guns?
Yeah, like what kind? Like pistols?
Yeah,
shotguns?
they're pistols. They're pistols with they have 3 buttons. There's a one where the hammer would be, one in the grip, and then the trigger, obviously.
Because I gotta tell you, I have always wanted to own the like shaking machine guns that came with like the T2 cabinet.
Hell yeah,
that would be cool.
I just want those. Like, where do I get some?
I wanted to get a copy of Terminator Salvation, the arcade game, because those guns are awesome.
Oh yeah, that would be sweet, dude. I played T2 cabinet recently. That game is so hard.
Yeah, I was playing on my arcade game with the light guns I got. It is tough.
That game is so fucking hard. It was designed to eat quarters. I mean, they all are, but like extra hard.
And I also got a steering wheel for it, so I started playing, like Outrun and Pole Position, stuff like that. Did you know that Pole Position and Road Blasters, it works like a dial, like you would have on a Tempest cabinet instead of a steering wheel? It's weird.
Did not.
Yeah.
Weird.
Anyway, so yeah, and then because I got the steering wheel, I also wanted a good modern racer for my system, and I bought Forza Horizon 3, which is awesome, except for with a steering wheel, it kind of sucks, because I think the way it expects you to drive is having a control on each pedal at the same time, so you can't be like a right-footed driver for both pedals. You got to have both feet on the pedals, and it's hard to do when you drive 50,000 miles a year like I
drive
do.
That way.
Yeah,
don't do that.
My grandmother has done that her entire life. But in the old days, you had to keep the idle speeds up in the winter because the car wasn't adjustable.
One of the girls I went to high school with drove that way. She put both feet on the pedals, and it was the most terrifying thing ever. Like, It was the worst. Don't ever do it. Don't drive that way. Don't. Ugh, gross.
So
If you want to
Izzy,
use 2 feet, learn to drive a stick.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to work the clutch with the other foot, go for it.
So Islane, you've been doing anything interesting in real life that you want to talk about?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Outside of playing Magic, that's about the only thing I do in real life that is of any note. My group has kind of switched gears from playing standard legal decks to Commander.
Oh
which is a
yeah,
lot of
you
fun.
did. Fucking Commander's amazing.
It is great, and it's funny because it's kind of like the way we used to play back in the day. Like we would just pull random rules out and just be like, "This is how we're going to play today. You
Yeah.
get 100 life, and I get 100 life, and you can have as many cards as you want, or
Yeah,
whatever."
well,
And
that's what's one beautiful about Commander is it's the closest you can get to the like original kitchen table Magic.
yeah,
Like, you know,
I don't
the
really know
decks
the
aren't very
rules, we're just gonna
cohesive.
play.
Like shit, it's like it was built by a 12-year-old because there's 100 different cards in it. You never know what's going to happen each time. Yeah, it's great.
well, it can get, because of the length that Magic's been around. Like when we were playing in the 90s, it was, a couple limited sets, and that was
Oh,
it.
yeah.
A couple expansions, there wasn't shit out. So, basically everybody had all the access to all the same cards because they weren't expensive or old or any of that. But getting to the new stuff, like now, it's like new stuff is the least expensive because it hasn't been out very long, but certain cards automatically become super valuable. And then as bans come through or the formats change or whatever, then there's like certain cards that are desirable still and either go up or they go down. The market's always fluctuating, but the
My poor Emrakul deck. I lost so
have-
much money.
I have a deck with Emrakul in it.
I had 4, and then they banned it, and that card went from like $40 to $5.
yeah.
God damn.
Yeah,
it.
I did manage to pull one of the inventions from Kaladesh. I got a sort of body and mind,
Oh, nice.
which is pretty cool. I threw that in one of my commander decks because why not? Because like a lot of that stuff is not legal in anything else, but because commander is basically any set period, and there's like a short ban list, so you can
Yep.
play with anything. And since there's 20 years worth of cards, you could actually find, like I just built a zombie themed one. And there are so many zombies and zombie type cards throughout the years that you can put
Oh, yeah.
together 100 cards that are very cohesive. And
Speaking of which, you said you
ridiculous.
haven't played the new set yet. Earlier before this started, there's a zombie sub theme in the set. So
yes,
try
I did
out.
notice that. However, splashing white, mine currently is blue black. I don't know if
Yeah.
splashing white is going to be the best for that. I mean, it could be, but I don't know if I want to
Oh,
pull
just
some of the
the-
other power cards.
just
But
the
for standard, it might be all right.
Well, just the black zombies aren't bad. There's like a zombie lord gives all zombies 1/1, and you can tap it to give all zombies menace, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
terrible.
I threw in some of the old classic ones too. Like I can't remember his name, but he gives all zombies. God, what was it?
The one that
Regenerate
gives-
and Swamp Walk.
Yeah, Swamp Walk. Yeah, I remember that guy.
So stupid, and like so many of these cards are so over. Okay, so the other day my friend decides that he had put together this blue-red deck that's just fucking annoying. Right, he's the dick of the group.
is it
he
Niv
always
Mizzet?
goes for,
It's
like-
Niv Mizzet, isn't it?
It is Niv Mizzet. of
Ah,
course.
monster. Only monsters.
Yeah, so it's like he's playing it, and he pulls out this combo where he drops. I can't remember what the creature name is, but basically, whenever he draws a card, all opponents take 1 damage. Then he drops this blue spell that allows him to draw his whole entire library, basically.
He just kills
So-
you by drawing cards.
Yeah, he killed both of us with that combo. And we're just like, really, dude? Like, that's not fucking fun. You're a dick. But yeah, that's
yeah.
pretty much all I've been doing in real life.
I used to have a dick deck when I played Versus. It was Doctor Doom Master Evil deck, and basically it would do nothing but lock you down for 7 turns. It would start on turn 3, and we get to turn 10, and then I just drop this monster that no one ever had in their deck. And I think I had what was his name? The guy that was Professor X's thoughts. You know who
Professor
I'm talking
X's thoughts?
about? Yeah.
You mean Cerebro? Like the computer?
No. It was like
His
the
son?
manifestation of his mind.
Wasn't that like floating brain guy?
No, he was this big armored thing. I can't remember his name. Anyway, he would just come out and just annihilate people. And, they had no fun playing because they said, I'm going to attack. And I'm going to say, no, you don't. And I'm going to attack. And no, you don't. And it was awesome. I love playing that deck.
The deck I've been tweaking in Magic, since we're talking about decks now, and we could do a podcast about this, by the way,
Oh,
because
God,
I
we
fucking love
should.
Magic. My The deck I've been playing with recently has a disgusting combo in it where there's a card called Planar Uprising. It's an old green card. It's like 2 green, and it turns all lands into 1/1 creatures, like everyone's lands. That's fine. There's a card called Elish Norn that gives all your creatures +1/+1 and all their creatures -1/-1. So you're the only one that gets lands. Everyone go fuck themselves.
Oh, that's a fucked up combo.
Oh, it ends the game. I mean, there's no.
There are some combos that come out that are ridiculous. I did one just because I managed to pull the 2 cards necessary when Aether Revolt came out. There was this white card. I can't remember the fucking name. Feldar Guardian or something like that.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's
and Saheeli, right?
It comes out, and Saheeli. I managed to pull that out one game because I was like, well, fuck it. I have both the cards. I'm going to make this deck just to be a jerk.
You should.
And I played it, and I got that infinite combo, and it was just like, yeah.
Yeah. It feels so good.
Yeah.
It does not feel good from the other side of the table, though.
No, not at all. I hate it when people do that shit to me. My buddy did an electrostatic pummeler deck where he basically pumps it like by fucking infinity. He hit me for like 94 points of damage in one swing.
Yeah, on like turn 4 too.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, fuck you. I don't even want to play anymore.
I hated that deck. That deck was terrible. Anyway, we could do this all day, so we should probably talk about video games.
Besides Magic, what else have you been doing, Ervik?
So I know I bitched a couple times ago about my N64. I found the problem. It had the interior of the power switch had basically melted. I'm still not sure what component was missing. I don't know. I sent you that picture.
Yeah.
Where the board, there's just a clear spot. There was some component there. I'm guessing a capacitor, just because they're usually the ones that disintegrate. And it was just gone. Like, there wasn't even char. Like, it was just char. There was no bits of it in that case. So there was no fixing that. So I threw it away and just bought another one off Amazon for like, $15 or something. An original.
Good choice.
And got that running and started playing some Turok. I played some Ocarina of Time with my old copy. My save was still there. all my saves were full. I had to delete one. That was heartbreaking.
Your video RAM upgrade was burned out too?
No, my save card is.
Oh, okay.
I don't have they had the memory cards and like some, I guess I literally don't remember what it was for. It's a memory card, but like most of the games saved to their own cartridge, so I don't know why it existed. Like, it was just in the controller still. It didn't work. In the controller where like the rumble pack typically goes.
Yeah. So
I don't know. But that didn't work. I tried to like pull it out. Like when I turned on Turok, it's like, you have a busted memory thing, and I was like, because that's one on the. By the way, Turok 2 doesn't save to the cartridge. You have to have the little stupid memory pack. So I don't have any way to save that game. But what I forgot. I remember how bad the N64 controllers were, or I thought I did, until I used one for an hour. God damn it, that controller sucks.
That was
Holy
the worst
shit!
design ever.
How did that thing make it through dev? Like, somebody had to be like, dudes, this thing sucks. I can just get fired. Like, they're like, we hear no dissenting voice. But it's got 3 handles. They got 2 hands. They'll figure it out.
Man, they did.
If they want to play bad enough, they will.
They're going to see Mario 64, and they're not going to care what the controller is. And sure enough, it worked.
If you want to ruin your childhood, go play GoldenEye. That game is terrible. Like, I'm sorry. I played that game a shit ton growing up. I have very fond memories. That game is garbage. That game is hot, stinky garbage. The single player, the AI doesn't work. Like, half the time the scientist you're escorting jumps off a goddamn dam for no reason.
Whee!
It just does. And then like the multiplayer is the most unbalanced shit. And the controls are, God, the whole thing is just hot garbage. Don't do it. Remember the game fondly. Don't ever play it again. I'm telling you.
I hate it when you ruin it like that. I've had so many good memories of shit, and then play it, and you're like, what was I thinking?
As my advice is, never play that game again. Remember it fondly. I took the bullet for you. That game's terrible. And I just got back from a week in Europe. My wife and I went to.
Nice.
Well, you sent me a picture from Germany.
Yeah, we did. So I flew into Italy. We did Rome. We did Venice, and we did Florence. Italy is dirty as fuck. Everything there is dirty. There's garbage everywhere. if you can reach it, it's covered in graffiti. Like there's a 7-foot tall line around every building, including historical landmarks, that's just covered in graffiti. Rome was the worst, but Florence and Venice, to a lesser degree, were also a little shady, and they're all built around like being shit. Like it's just tourist traps. Like the Colosseum, I don't know if you know this, has been like half rebuilt. Like half the thing is new. Like I don't want to go see that. Like you guys built it like a decade ago. Like what is this? Is stupid. I mean, it was still fun. We went. I got to see a bunch of old shit. It was great. But by far, Italy was the worst of the trip. We spent like 3 days there. We spent a day in Rome, a day in Florence, and a day in Venice. And yeah, bleh, bleh.
Which country had the best beer?
Oh, Germany. Let's not even get weird. Germany was amazing. And the best part of beer in Germany is that you can throw a dart at the beer menu and you'll never get an IPA because I don't believe in them. And that is amazing because IPAs are, I swear to God, brewed in the devil's anus.
They are disgusting, but they're always high alcohol content.
Oh, yeah.
Which you won't get out of most other beers here. Now, in Germany, that's probably not the case.
That's what I'm saying. Germany will get you fucked up on a Pilsner.
Right? Or a nice,
you get like a Hefeweizen, the wheat beer, like it's like 12%. It's like, yes, you people get me on a spiritual level.
I like IPAs, but I prefer actual IPAs and not the Americanized IPAs that are so hoppy that you just burn your tongue.
Yeah, hops were only put into beer to make it so that the freaking yeast worked. Man, don't. Ugh. It's not a flavor additive, you monsters.
Right now, I'm drinking Sweet Baby Jesus, a chocolate peanut butter porter.
Oh, yeah, that's real good. I actually like that.
Porters are always good.
And then where else? We went to Germany, and we didn't do anything, like the only touristy thing we did in Germany was we went to Neuschwanstein Castle, which this is the video game nerd in me, the only reason I wanted to go to. Did you ever play any of the Gabriel Knight games?
No.
No, I know what they are, though.
They were adventure games by Sierra, and the third one was set in Neuschwanstein Castle. So I played that. They were some of my favorite games as a kid, and yeah, that's right. That's right. So I literally was like, it sucks because my wife was there for 2 weeks before I was for work, and her work took her to the castle, and I made her take me back so that I could see this video game castle. It was totally worth it, by the way. It was super neat. And we also did Paris. That was the only part of France we did was Paris. And Pete, I'm sorry. I loved Paris. That place is great.
Why are you sorry?
I know you're going to hate it. I know you. But
my wife actually hates Paris, so I'm never going to have to see it.
So Paris, like we came from Italy to Paris, and Italy's cramped. Like the streets are all like a car and a half wide, but they fit 3 cars in them. And the traffic laws in Italy are a suggestion and not one that is followed. They'll have like 17 cars in a 3-car lane, and half of them are going the wrong way. Like, it is terrifying. I would never try and drive there. And then we went, right after that, we went to Paris, which was built with a more like open air aesthetic.
It got rebuilt after cars were available.
Yes. The boulevards are all ginormous. Like, every street in the main heart of Paris, you could probably fit 30 cars abreast. Like, they're huge. They've got like every roundabout, like the one around the Arc de Triomphe is like 4 lanes, 4 very comfy lanes. There's a lot of green space.
I know it's the wrong city, but look, kids, Big Ben.
Yeah. There's a lot of green space, so it's just aesthetically pleasing. And then there's also just nothing but, if you like history, there's nothing but museums. I mean, you could spend a week in the Louvre and not see everything. There's the Musée d'Orsay is the modern art museum. You could spend a day, 2 in there. There's the one, I forget what it's called. It's called like the Grand Palais, I think it is, that has the Thinker in it. You could spend a bunch of time in there, and that's connected to the garden. There's just nothing but museums and history, and everyone was super nice everywhere we went. So I had a good time. I think Germany was my favorite because I got to get real drunk, but Paris was my second favorite. and only go to Italy once and then never again. That place is dirty and smelly.
Did Venice smell like poo?
Uh, no, it smelled like mold, kind of like the
That would
water
make
is kind of
sense.
stagnant-y.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know this. There's actually like that city was never built to like exist for long, so it's constantly like sinking.
Yeah.
Like they
I
keep
don't think it was
trying.
done very well.
Yeah, well, they keep trying to save it, but they spend more. Like I was reading an article recently because I got interested when I was down there. They spend more trying to keep it afloat than they make almost. Like it's not. It's basically just sits on a swamp, like, and it just is constantly sinking.
But the
because
fourth one stayed up.
Yeah. My wife wanted to go to Pisa, but we were kind of cramped for time. We did all of this in 7 days, give or take, like 6.5 days. I went to 3 countries, and one on her list was Pisa. And I was like, "You just want to see the Leaning Tower of Pisa? You want to see a tower they built shitty? Like that's the only thing in Pisa. You want to see a failed architectural monument? Like so we skipped Pisa. There's like nothing else there. Like that's literally it.
My wife hates it when I put things so succinctly to her.
Yeah, my wife wasn't a huge fan either, but she loves me, so she hasn't divorced me yet somehow. But yeah, we had a good time. There was a terrorist attack before we left in Paris and Germany, and one after we got back, but we dodged all of them. Everyone was super nice. No one tried to blow me up, so yeah.
Good job, sir.
Right?
It sounds like a win.
No flashbacks.
Yeah. It's outside my apartment in Bahrain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least you didn't have to sleep on base for a week when it happened. Ugh.
Yeah, but at least they told me everyone was getting mop level 4, and here I am. What am I going to do? Put some tape on your window edges. Thanks. Helpful. Mop level 4, if you don't know, is full chemical gear attack. This is right at the beginning of the Iraq War. It was terrible.
Wearable sauna suits.
Yeah.
Those charcoal lined sauna suits. All right.
That's what you get for being
that's
part
what
of the team that cleans everybody.
Went to Europe and came back. Didn't die. Had a good time. Drank a lot of beer. Brought a lot of beer home. I actually, if you ever come down and visit me, I currently have sitting in my cabinet a Bavarian whiskey, a French whiskey, and an Italian whiskey that I brought back with me.
Very nice. Whiskey is awesome. So I got a Blinking Light Wind. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
No.
Okay, so it's obviously named as like For the Win, bullcrap like that. What it is it's a new cartridge insertion system for your NES. So for I think it was $35 or $40, something like that. It replaces the old push the cartridge in and push it down to just push it in, and so it works kind of like every other cartridge system where you just push it in. And it immediately removed all the problems I had with my NES as far as the old stuff where you used to want to blow in the cartridge and stuff like that. It just goes in, works perfect every time. It's amazing. Nice. And it comes with a little sticker so you can put there to tell people not to push it in. The only problem with it is pulling the cartridges out is kind of a pain because it's tight, but it was amazing how well it worked for what it is. And it installed
I love little gadgets like that.
Yeah, it's.
I did that with my with my PS4. It's not retro, but I did it with my PS4 to do a like an expansion bay project because it's just a laptop hard drive. So you just pull that out and you put this little adapter in, and then you plug it into a regular hard drive that would go into a computer. So I upgraded from like 500 gig to 2 terabytes.
Nice,
which was nice. Yes.
Then I picked up a Sega Genesis Portable. I got this at Target. It's about the size.
The Game Gear.
It's like the Game Gear, but it's made by the same people who make the flashbacks and stuff like that.
Okay.
Does it use 6 AA batteries that die after 25 minutes?
No, it comes with rechargeable batteries that last 6 hours on a charge. It's about the size of a checkbook. Altogether, it's got the 6-button controller design, and it comes with like 30 games on it. But the best part is,
can you put like Genesis cartridges in it, or is it just like
you can't do that? But it does have an SD card slot, and I got an 8 gig SD card that was just laying around. I loaded it up with every single Genesis ROM and just shoved it in there, and it plays them all.
Because there was I saw something similar to that recently somewhere. I don't remember where. It might have just been a prototype, but it was basically a Game Gear. It was a handheld screen with you could literally put a Genesis cartridge
That
in the
might have
back.
been the Sega Nomad that they made back in the day.
No, this was a new deal. I
okay.
remember the Nomad. This was something new.
The
Yeah.
other problem with this,
I had a Nomad somewhere.
it's minor, but for the reason I got it when I did is I wanted to play Shining Force on the go. It will not save your progress.
Oh, that's a bummer.
It will
For any of them, or
for any of them except for Phantasy Star 2 and Phantasy Star 3 that came built in and were designed to use the memory to save your game. But any of the ROMs you put in, there's no save states. There's nothing you can do to save your progress.
that's a bummer.
So it's good for games like Earthworm Jim and stuff where you just want to play, or if they've got code-based save systems, those work well too.
Code based. That's old school.
And then I signed up for LA Fitness because I'm getting tubby. Did that
Yeah.
last
I should
week.
do that too.
I've got a gym membership. I haven't been in a month, but I was doing really well up until
I lost.
we went on the vacation.
I lost 8 pounds in the first week, and that was without changing my diet. So it's apparently helping.
Are you sure you just didn't take a really good shit?
It might have been a bit of both, but I did go every day. So
Nice.
yeah. And then yesterday I went whitewater rafting for the first time, which was awesome. If you've never done it, it is really fun.
I've done it on the river where they filmed Deliverance. Right? It was in Georgia, which is, yeah, it feels kind of like you're going to get butt raped by some hillbillies when you go on it.
Oh man, we've been recording for an hour and we're not even close to.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the game yet.
All right.
Yeah.
Do we want to
just
skip
cut all
retro
that-
news?
we probably should.
All right, just real quick. There's a new Sega Dreamcast game called Florian Brothers. You can look that up. There are.
Well, it's not new. It's all.
Oh, that one's the DLC. That's right.
Yeah, they've released all the because you can't get the DLC anymore, obviously. And somebody just like the original creators released it. You can go download it and import it to your Dreamcast.
There's a new port of Millennium Racer Y2K Fighters on the Dreamcast as well.
Wait, is it a fighter or a racer?
Yes.
Yes.
It's kind of like F-Zero.
Ah, the game that Nintendo forgot it made.
Right, except unless it's time to put Captain Falcon into a game. Kind of like Metroid. Then there's a new 12-in-1 retro gaming console that was launched. It's called the Game Freak. You can get it at funstock.co.uk. Or, I'm sorry, funstockretro.co.uk. And it's pretty cool. It does 12 systems, and you can actually copy the ROMs out of your games or load up ROMs onto the console as well. So that's cool. It does Super Famicom, Super Nintendo, the Famicom, Mega Drive and Genesis, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, the PC Engine, the TurboGrafx 16, and the SGX, which I'm not sure what that one is, but it's related to the TurboGrafx. And
it's probably
you can
some
also,
failed sequel.
yeah, you can also use all your original controllers, or use the controller adapter to use modern controllers.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
Dig it.
kind of expensive, but it's pretty awesome. It plays cartridges and ROMs, so it's 169.99 pounds. So roughly $200, I would imagine.
Yeah,
Maybe a little
it'd
more
be
than
somewhere in the plus import. You're probably talking, I would guess, $250 to get it here,
that. Yeah.
because you have to pay tariff on it.
The Arcade World's first Easter egg was discovered. This is an Ars Technica article. This was in Atari Starship 1.
Yeah, and it was not found until now because I read this one because the controller that was unique to the system isn't really replicated correctly whenever you try and ROM it or anything. So the only way to do this was to put a quarter into the actual machine and hold down 2 buttons and then slap the third button in a specific pattern while it loaded the game. And it gave you 10 free credits and said, "Hi, Ron."
That's pretty cool. And then you can now we've covered all the crazy, stupid things you can play Doom on, including the piano, the printer screen, ATM. I think you found this article and sent it to me, didn't you? that you can now play on a Porsche 911?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't remember doing it, but I get drunk a lot, so.
So if you watch the guy playing, he's actually playing by driving the car. As in, the steering wheel is your control.
Oh, yeah, no, I did do this. That's super dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even close to cool.
I forgot. I did see that article. Yeah, that's so dumb.
And of course, because you can do everything with your smartwatches, you can now play Game Boy games on your Apple Watch. Thank you.
That would be the first reason I know of to get one.
Yeah.
I have a Moto 360 version 2, and right now I'm using it to track my Chicago Cubs, who are stomping the Pittsburgh Pirates 13-3 in the top of the eighth.
You live in New York. You're not allowed to be a Cubs fan.
It's the only team stadium I've ever been to that I wasn't working at when I went there. So yes, I can. I've been a fan since we lived there.
You know everyone's just going to assume you became a fan like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, I know.
As long as you know that you're going to be judged.
It's okay. I have 3 Cubs hats. The people that know me know I've been a fan for a while, so it's fine.
That's why you choose a team like my LA Rams that are so terrible. No one would ever accuse you of being a fair weather fan.
Yeah, that is very true.
Oh God, they're so bad.
He said LA Rams. That's just funny in itself. You're really a Lambs fan?
Yeah, my cousin played for them.
Oh, okay. Well, at least that's a good reason.
Many years ago.
So, that brings us to our featured game, Shining Force, developed by Climax Entertainment and Sonic Software Planning, and published, of course, by Sega.
Sonic Software Planning. Sounds like somebody, like, this is like a department within, like, EA Games or something, like Sonic Software Planning. That somebody couldn't figure out, like, oh, we need an actual name for this developer. Well, this is what's already printed on the letterhead, so fuck it. We'll roll with it.
It'll save us on printing costs. It was directed by, I'm terrible at Japanese names, Yasuhiro Taguchi and Kenji Orimo, and produced by Hiroki Takahashi, and originally released on the Genesis in Japan on March 20th, 1992, in North America in July of 93, and also in the EU in July of 93. The game was well received. Mega placed this game at number 33 in their top Mega Drive games of all time.
Out of how many?
I don't know.
Because
I would put it near the top of best list of Genesis games.
Yeah, I'm literally just curious. I wasn't trying to slight the game.
Well, I only say that because I know that you had already kind of halfway mentioned that you weren't a huge fan. But if you played it when it came out, I think that does a lot for it.
Yeah, I just got real bored. Real bored.
Really?
Yeah.
The game was remade in 2004 for the Game Boy Advance under the title Shining Force: Resurrection of the Dark Dragon. Changes included...
Spoilers? Jesus.
What do you want from me? It's the name of the game. Changes include an expanded plot, 3 new playable characters, 3 new battles, ramping difficulty system, and some tweaks in the gameplay. One of the new characters can use cards in battle. Turn order is determined solely by the unit's speed stat, and can be checked at any time from a list, which that was one of the complaints I had about the game. We'll get into that. The remake features ramping difficulty system, which I said, even though it's repeated here twice. Every time a playthrough is successfully completed, a player earns a star, and all enemies get a boost in stats for the next playthrough. And it's also been re-released on iOS, which I didn't know until I found that in Wikipedia.
I didn't know that either.
You want to cover the story?
Yeah. So the hero / protagonist Max is sent on a mission to prevent the evil Kane, who commands the hordes of Runefaust from opening the Shining Path, which I still don't know what the fuck that means, and resurrect the Dark Dragon. Again, spoilers. Along the way, you recruit a bunch of people to be the Shining Force, which is weird if you're trying to prevent the Shining path from opening to call yourselves the Shining Force. Wouldn't you be like the anti-Shining Force? Or...
The Dark Force.
Right, like Dark Force. Like, yeah, there you go. You're the
You're
bad
preventing
guys.
the resurrection of the Dark Dragon, so you're the Dark Force.
And eventually you find out that there's, like every Japanese RPG, there's really a different bad guy. But the guy you're fighting is not the bad guy. It never is. And there's this other guy who's been Machiavellian plotting in the background and controlling either through actual mind control or, just good old-fashioned manipulation the events at hand. And that guy's name is Ramladu. I'm sorry. Kane and Ramladu are under the control of Dark Soul. I didn't make it that far in a game.
I didn't even know anything beyond Kane, so that's good.
Kane is as far as I made it too. That's why I was like, Ramladu.
So basically, there's a bunch of spoilers because I've actually completed the game. There's like a bunch of different minions that work for like Dark Soul, essentially, and then that storyline continues into the sequel, essentially.
Okay.
Dun dun dun. So if you release the dragon, what happens? Is it like to devour the world? Is it like you just
have like a big boss battle at the end. You beat him, and then it's like yay, and then there's peace and tranquility, and then the sequel, it's like kind of similar sort of circumstance. It's almost like the same game. They just like tweak the story a bit.
Like Evil Dead 2 and Evil Dead 1.
A little more tweaking, but yeah, I mean, like all the characters are different, but there are some recurring themes.
So you want to talk about the gameplay, Zlane?
Well, the gameplay is what hooked me to begin with. I played it the very first time in probably '93, back when you used to have to go to video rental stores to rent a game if you weren't able to just go out and buy it. When it came out, I was 11. So yeah, I started playing it right away. I remember renting it one weekend and thinking it was amazing. I got pretty far into it, but then obviously did not beat it. And it wouldn't be until years later when I actually bought a copy that I actually finished it. I think I ended up owning a copy of Shining Force 2 first, and then actually completed that. So I kind of went in backwards order. And it's a good thing that the storyline, I guess, doesn't coexist too much. It's like same world but different circumstances, so it doesn't like I didn't
spoil
ruin it.
didn't spoil it too hard. All right.
Yeah, so they can definitely be played independently. And also, I should note that there are more games in the series, but the only other one that I played was actually released before the original Shining Force, and it was called Shining in the Darkness. And it was actually a dungeon crawler, kind of like Dungeon Master. Or like a newer example would be, what was that Grimrock game? What's it called?
Oh, yeah. What is that called? It was
Legend
really
of
good.
Grimrock,
yeah.
and then Legend of Grimrock 2. Those are based off of like old school games like Dungeon Master from like Atari days, Amiga days, those types of days. So same sort of idea, but you had a party of 3. They were predetermined characters. There was your main guy that was kind of like the same archetype as Max, like a hero set up where he's like just a swordsman or whatever. And then you had a mage friend, and then like a archery type friend, and those are the only 3 people you had. But you start off by yourself, and then eventually you get through and you get the 2 other characters, and you go through like several different dungeon crawls till you beat the game. And Dark Dragon is the villain in that one as well, so there's some continuity there. But that game was punishingly difficult, very annoying to play through, and somehow or another during my childhood years where I had nothing better to do, I did manage to beat that one as well. But it was an exercise in patience, I guess you could say. Definitely not as engaging, I don't think.
You use the same method I did for getting through DuckTales. Trial and error. Just keep going. I have nothing better to play.
Never.
Right, exactly. Because you don't have the money to go buy anything else. So yeah, I mean, I think that the gameplay was awesome. I love the fact that there's the tactical movement, which it's not so tactical because they don't have like, for instance, in like Final Fantasy Tactics, where you have that elevation changes things, or in like some of the Fire Emblem series, there's like certain characters are weak against certain elemental types and things like that. It's not quite that in depth, but I think it was kind of groundbreaking for its time. as far as console games go. I know that computer games already had XCOMs and things like that in that same sort of era, but for a console game and for being just a 16-bit little cheesy title, it was pretty in depth, in my opinion, at the time, because I was going from playing stupid games like Mario that really have no depth and are just arcadey, jumping around platformer type stuff, to those types of RPGs, and that's kind of when I switched over into that focus. Another good one, if you are Genesis fans, is the Phantasy Star series, by the way.
Yeah, Phantasy Star is pretty good.
Is Phantasy Star tactical too?
No,
okay.
No, it is more traditional JRPG, but I don't know.
It's kind of like a Dragon Warrior or something.
Yeah, more along those lines, or like
okay.
even Final Fantasy. You get a party of different characters and they do different things. But yeah, with Shining Force, I always liked the fact that each character was individual. They had their own sort of personalities. I mean, they weren't fully fleshed out, but they at least had something going on that differentiated them. And then there's the different classes, so you can pick your balanced party to go into battles. I remember playing that game so many times. I wish they had that New Game Plus. I never played that remake that you mentioned, but having that New Game Plus would have been fun, because I used to just start over and say, okay, well, this time I'm going to play with this set of characters and try to beat the game, and try to make it more difficult for myself or whatever by, running three healers or whatever. But yeah, I think the gameplay was pretty good, and I love the little cutscenes. I mean, granted, it does get repetitive and boring over time, but when you're a kid, it was great. As an adult, I've played it recently in the last couple of years. It still stands the test of time as far as being playable. It's still a semi-engaging story. It's still pretty good, but it's definitely not the best RPG I've ever played at this point. But I still, for that era, think it was one of the better installments. On the Genesis, rather than like Super Nintendo, which of course then you have Chrono Trigger and shit like that.
Yeah, that's something that made it stand. I didn't play it at the time, but there wasn't a lot like it on the Genesis, so I can imagine it really standing out. And I mean, even the SNES, to be honest, you didn't get like tactics and stuff until much later, I don't believe.
Yeah, PS1 was Final Fantasy Tactics, and PS2 was like the Disgaea series.
Yeah, so the other ones. This is, if not the first, one of the earliest, what they refer to as strategy SRPGs in that vein that I'm aware of. And it fit a lot into a little cartridge. Like, it's not, like you said, it's not, the combat's not nearly as in depth as, some of the later stuff. Like, it's no XCOM, but, positioning mattered, protecting your healers mattered. It definitely pushed the limits of what I'm sure everyone thought you could do with a Genesis cartridge.
I'm sure.
For me, this was only like the fourth tactical game I've ever played. The other ones being the two new Shadowruns, Hong Kong, and the first one before that, and XCOM. And the tactics in it were still very compelling. I had a hard time. If you've been watching the video, you'll see I just went through the same fight 3 times before it looped, just trying to get by it. It's tough.
It can be. But what the thing is that there are certain points in the game when you're walking along the map, and there'll be a story element. Like early on when you're going towards, I may be confusing the first or the second game, but in either way, one of these early scenarios, you'll go one direction on the map, and it'll cutscene to some story bit or whatever, and then you go into, well, it's not really a cutscene, but you know what I mean? Like they'll be talking, and then you'll do the battle, and then you'll go to this location, and then you pick up like a new character or whatever. And then it's like go back the opposite way, and then sometimes you'll get attacked, and sometimes you won't. But usually any of those spots, after you've gone over to like the next screen, essentially, you can usually go back and replay the same battle. So you can actually artificially level yourself to the point where things are less difficult.
That's pretty cool.
I used to do that a lot. I'd be super powered before I even got past like certain parts because, too much time on my hands as a kid.
Yep. So, Ervik, what did you think of the music and sound effects?
I mean, they got across what they needed to, but they're very, at least to me now, because I don't have that nostalgia attached to them. They get across what they need to. When you go into battle, there's the battle music, and the monsters have their own thing. There's the overworld theme, but none of it really stood out to me as like really good. Like
it's not as good as Final Fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing was memorable, but it wasn't bad. Like it wasn't. It wasn't one of those things where some of the games we've played have music so bad it distracts you. And some of those I'll literally turn the music off and like put on music, or turn the sound off and put on music while I play. I did not do that with this. I listened to the sound. It was good. It just, there was no like standout memorable, like you're not going to be whistling the Final Fantasy, or the Shining Force fight tune when you're done like you would the Final Fantasy. There's none of that, but it wasn't bad by any means. I think they did a good job. Solid, probably like B level.
I
it's
can
good,
say to add to that, they did have that same sort of continuity, like the Final Fantasy series, or like how Warcraft will. World of Warcraft reused sound bits from Warcraft, and then they reused them again in like Hearthstone. It's the same sort of deal. Like in Shining in the Darkness, there are certain sound cues that will carry over into Shining Force and into the sequel. So that they at least had that going for them to try and get that shit stuck in your head, but it just wasn't as good, so it didn't.
I know after playing this battle for an hour, I had that overworld in my head for a little while, but I can't remember it now. So yeah, you're right. It's kind of forgettable.
Right.
But that being said, it's not it's not bad. Like
no,
I would
at all.
give it like a solid B. Like it's there. It's better than average. It's just not it's not going to get you into college. At least not a good one.
So I was surprised at how approachable this game was for an early 90s RPG. I remember playing like Dragon Warrior when I was a kid and not having a clue what I was doing, and so I'd end up fighting a scorpion well before I was ready and just die and not know why I couldn't just fight everything like I could with Mario or something like that. But it was also quite unique in that it, as far as I know, it's the oldest tactical RPG. I don't know of any others before it. Do you guys?
I don't either. I mean, if it,
at least
on
not
a console.
on PC.
Yeah, not console. I can't think of one. I'm sure we could Google it, but yeah, I'm fairly familiar. RPGs are kind of my jam, and I couldn't point one out to you.
Same.
And I really enjoyed thinking about placement in this game. I was trying to outflank enemies and stuff, and it gave me that same XCOM feeling that we've mentioned over and over.
There's also some cool bits. The first one I don't think had them. It may, but I could be wrong. But on the second one, I know for a fact that there was this hidden village that not everybody knew about. And it was just like a little, how the forest looks on the map? Mm-hmm. There was like one tile, one square that was miscolored. And if you walked over that when you were not in battle, of course, you would actually go to this like secret village, and there was 2 or 3 different items you could get there, where when you went to go do the promotions for your guys, once they hit level 20, you can promote them. I think it was at the church. And when you promote them, they become a new class, and they restart at level 1, but it's like as powerful as level 21 essentially.
Oh, nice.
Or however far ahead. You could actually level some of them up, because I know like in the first game, how there's the centaur people. There's one guy in the second game where you get him at the very beginning of the game, but you don't get to that area until most of your people are already promoted. So he'd be like level 26 or 27, because I'd be waiting to get to that secret area to get this item you could use to promote him to a Pegasus Knight so he could fly. And it was like
cool.
The coolest thing ever when I was a little kid. Like, oh my God, I was so stoked on being able to do that shit. But yeah, there was little Easter eggs like that. And I don't know if there are any in the original game. But if not, that was a cool addition that they added to the next. But yeah, there was a lot of cool little tidbits, and then other ways that you could challenge yourself. I think it's really interesting that remake actually added some bits to it. I wonder if it's worth trying to track down just to play it.
Was 2 and 3 also on the Genesis? I think 2 was, right?
2 was. 3 was on the Saturn, but it got either a limited or it didn't release in the US at all.
Okay.
And then there was like 1 or 2 other games that were Shining related, like some kind of Shining title, but I don't know if they ever actually made it to the US. Very
cool. So what was your overall playing experience like when you were a kid? Were you always on a couch? Did you have separate TVs? What kind of experience were you having?
So we had an old school RCA that was on one of those wood platform swivels, like it was built in to that. And I remember we had like something on top of it, and then like the VCR, and then my Nintendo, and then when I eventually got a Genesis, I think I fitted up there somehow. So it was like on top of the TV, and I sat on the floor. and played in front of the TV. Later, I think around the time that I actually ended up buying the second game, or I got it as a gift or something, I actually had also received a gift of a little 13-inch tube TV that I threw in my room, and then I remember playing it just laying on my bed, and that was amazing because the parents could say go to bed and you turn everything off, and then they go to bed, and then you could tell they're sleeping, and then you turn it back on and play all night. So yeah, it was a good experience.
Never done
like I said,
that.
I rented
no.
the first one, and I played through the second one around the same time as when I was playing Phantasy Star 4 because it came out around the same time. So I was in RPG heaven for a while. I remember that was like my first entry into it, and then of course that continued with PS1s and Final Fantasy 7s and all of that good stuff.
I keep picking RPGs for us to play, and I'm just every time I'm like, oh, I'm gonna finally get through one. I'm gonna do it, and I just never do. I play them for a while, I enjoy them, and then I put them down, and I'm done.
This is the first one I haven't finished that we've done, and I don't think it's the game's fault because I've never liked Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy Tactics randomly, but I love XCOM, and I really like the old top-down I forget what they call them, isometric third-person or isometric top-down, whatever, the Baldur's Gate
style.
Icewind. Like I love those games, but I can never get into Fire Emblem style games, and I don't know what the difference is because they're basically the same damn thing. And one of them catches me and one of them doesn't, and I think this is closer
maybe it's
to
the
one
artificial
than the other.
grid lines.
Yeah, maybe.
Because all of the tactics games that you described right now, outside of XCOM, not even XCOM's got a grid per se, but like
you can't see it.
Baldur's Gate games definitely do not, because it's tactical because you can pause it, but in that same vein, like games like Dragon Age are the same. Even newer versions of that same sort of formula.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it may be just the grid lines because it gives that artificial, like, okay, now it's combat, so we're rigid and we can only stay in these squares. I guess it does kind of take away from it.
Which is weird because I play D&D every Thursday and it's nothing but squares.
Yeah, squares all over the place.
I've never been able to put my finger
Do you like
on
Civilization?
Yeah, I play Civ 6 all the time.
You're not adverse to hexes.
Yeah, I don't. It's something like my friend Phil loves Fire Emblem, and he's been trying to get me to play for years, and I've tried every one of them. Same with the I bought the anthology that came out on PS1 back in the day that had all the Final Fantasies. Like the first time you could get the correctly numbered Final Fantasies, and it came with Tactics was the first one, I think. And I just could never. I tried so hard, just couldn't do it.
You might just be not as into JRPGs. That's got to be it.
Well, I love JRPGs. Like old school, I've played every Final Fantasy ever released. Dragon Warrior. Hell, I even liked the Microsoft released one that looked like Dragon Ball. Was Blue Dragon? Is that what it's called? Played all the way through that game. I'm playing 2 different Tales games right now.
Okay, I don't know. I can't tell you.
Right? Me either. It's something about strategy RPGs, but only console ones. And I don't know. Maybe it's just I don't like the console controller for that. What I'm doing. Maybe that's what it is.
That could be.
I'm playing XCOM 2 on the console, and I played XCOM 1 on the PC, and I liked XCOM 1 better. So maybe I just don't like controllers for strategy games.
I don't know how you were on a retro show and you hate controllers.
Get him.
Everyone hates the N64 controller.
Well, that's true. I don't like Xbox controllers either.
I prefer the Xbox to the PlayStation, though.
I do not. But that's 4 generations of me saying, yeah, I don't want to switch.
I think I like I've got big old meaty fists, so I think the Xbox controller is just a little bigger.
Yeah, that might be my problem. I don't feel like I have small hands per se, but it's the configuration that, or for some reason, okay, so like Xbox 360 and PS3 days, every single shooter you played on PS3, R1 was your aim and R2 was your shoot. On Xbox, it was always the triggers instead, or R2, R1, L2, R2.
And your shoulder buttons were for grenades usually. Yeah.
Right. So it was always switched. So every time I'd play, it would be like, I feel all fucked up and backwards. And then now all of a sudden, with PS4, they made it universal. And they went the other way. So now I've now adjusted to it, but for a while there, it was like, what the fuck, man? You guys have betrayed me.
Yeah,
Dude.
I only use my PS4 for exclusives. So the thing that throws me off the most is the offset analogs. I like the offset analogs.
I hate that.
On the Xbox. So when they put them together, it throws my brain into a weird spiral. Like
You have to
how my
play
thumbs are
both
supposed
regularly.
to be.
The differences in the 4 buttons that are traditionally on controllers is why I got Fallout 4 for free. I'd been playing a lot of Wii U, and the B button is where the A button is. And it kept saying B to go back. And I'm like, go back. And I just pressed A all the way through and ended up buying it. And I called up Microsoft, and they gave me a refund. And then it was never taken out of my account. So I ended up with a free copy of Fallout 4.
Nice.
So I can't complain about different controllers.
For being a dum-dum.
Yeah, for not looking down.
Excellent.
All right, so what are you guys' scores out of 10 for this game?
I would give it a 7. Even given that I have a lot of nostalgia for it, the sequel just knocked it out of the park. The sequel it was better in all ways. So
Nice.
I'd probably give the sequel more like an 8, 8.5. This one probably a solid 7.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's literally what I was gonna say. It's weird because he seemed to like it more than I did, but I was gonna hit it with a 7. I didn't make it super far, but I'm grading it based on how I feel the game. Like I know it's not my game, so if I graded it on how I felt, it'd be like a 4. But I know the game's better than that. It does what it does very well. I would say it is a good but not great example of the type of game that it is. So I think 7's a great score for it.
I honestly also think that you, no matter who you are, if you like a modern version of that game, you at least got to give it credit for that. You know,
Yes,
because
yep.
any game that you play nowadays that's strategic basically came from that sort of development pool.
And I was literally playing XCOM 2 like 5 minutes before the show started. So
I'm going to give it an 8. I really enjoyed it. It's probably my favorite RPG from this age at this point, which is saying something because I don't really like RPGs, which is also odd considering how many years
you
I played
played
WoW.
Chrono Trigger, you monster.
Chrono Trigger is old or newer though,
I only
by a
played.
couple years, I think.
I only played Chrono Trigger because of the show.
Yeah, like 1 or 2 years. Yeah, for sure.
I played
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You've played it, and that game is great.
Chrono Trigger is great. That's one reason I'm sad I never had an SNES, and one reason why I would consider buying a mini if they do it.
The definitive version is actually on the DS.
Yeah. None of the sequel or the sequel was not very good.
Yeah, what was it? Chrono Cross.
Chrono Cross, yeah. I
never
They
played
tried
it.
to take that like storyline element, like you can get secret characters, and there's like 50 characters in that game. It's too many.
Not exactly retro, but related. There's a company, I don't remember the company name, but they made a game a while back called it was Cthulhu Saves the World.
Yes.
Same company
Yes.
just released
Cosmic Star Heroine. Yes.
I started playing it. It will hit you in the Chrono Trigger feels.
Oh, all right. So
I would, from what I hear, it's only like a 10-hour story, so it's not a hugely engulfing RPG experience, but it was pretty good from what I played.
I mean, I like Cthulhu Saves the World, so I'm in.
Yeah, Cthulhu Saves the World and Breath of Death 7 are the only JRPGs I've played all the way through. That's
I've not played
pretty
the
sad
first two.
considering
I
they're
just
American
happened
made.
to see this one releasing and was like, "Oh, that looks pretty cool," and it was
I
like
did-
$12 or something. So I was like, "Okay, cool." It was worth
I
it.
did not play Breath of Death, but I know Pete loved it.
And that company is Zboid Games. I actually
There you
got to interview Bill Sternberg, who's the artist, on a different show I used to do. He's a good guy. Go buy his stuff. They also did
Oh, and-
Penny Arcade on the Rain-Slick Precipice of Darkness 3 and 4. They did those as well.
Oh, I heard
Okay.
those games are good. I never played them, but I heard
I
they
haven't
were good.
either. I bought them just to support them, but
Yeah, I own them. I literally just I forgot I had them. Maybe I'll go back and do that. So I looked up in the background the Shining Force 3 thing. So Shining Force, it was Sega Saturn. In Japan, there were 3. It was essentially 3 separate games, but they were all Shining Force 3, and they were Shining Force 3 Scenario 1, Scenario 2, and 3. They were overlapping storylines that led to and to get the real ending, you had to play all 3. The U.S. and the EU got only Scenario 1, so we never got the real ending.
that's crazy.
Interesting.
And the developer was Camelot Software Planning. So they ditched the Sonic, but kept software planning for some reason.
That's funny. So how can you emulate this on PC? Buy the Steam version. You get a cool emulator that you saw in the video here if you're watching live.
The little bedroom scene.
Yeah, 90s bedroom setup with the games on a shelf and everything. It's pretty sweet.
Also, conversely, if you do not have a PC and you want it on an existing console, there was a Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection on PS3 that you could buy. It came with like 30 or 40 games, most of which were pretty good. Some were games I remembered, but they ended up aging horribly. But all three of the Shining games that I talked about are on there, along with some Phantasy Star games and etc. Sonic and whatever. So,
nice.
And you could probably get that for like $5 at this point.
Easily. It wasn't even full price when it came out. I think it was like $39.99.
Yeah, it was cheap. And essentially the same games that are on Steam and available are the same ones that are there. So either way, you can get it.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and I might be wrong, but I thought they had released that on the PS4 store at some point.
They may have. I think
they did.
There may have been either. If it wasn't that, it was the individual games.
Cool.
I haven't looked, but yeah, I think if it hasn't, it's coming at some point.
It will, yes, because they milk those collections over and over again.
So we had no listener interactions over the last few months that we haven't done a show, but that's no surprise as we have like 30 downloads per episode, so that's okay.
I downloaded it 29 times.
You do it from all over the world, though. It's impressive. You must have like 20 different VPNs.
That's a good VPN.
Yeah, I just use a VPN, the different one every time.
Hey, can you do it a few dozen more times so maybe we can get an advertiser here?
It's so long. Yeah, sure.
Islane, you want to plug anything you're doing or anything you got going on?
Yeah, the only thing that I'm still working on is my blog. I post sporadically, usually a handful of posts a month. I am planning on getting back into podcasting, but like I said, no plans anytime soon. You can find my blog at it's gdub4.wordpress.com, and I am on Twitter at me versus myself and I.
He's a good guy. Posts good stuff. Check him out.
Put those in the show notes.
Yeah, I should put those in the yeah.
I got it.
Because I just post the show notes in the on the website later. So, and what else we got? What are we doing next show, Rick? You already discussed it, but give it away to the folks again.
Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time. The probably best Zelda game ever. I'll let you know after I play it again.
I'm already going to disagree with you because I hate 3D Zelda games, but hate's a strong word. The only 3D Zelda games I've ever finished is Darksiders 1 and 2. How about that?
I have never played one. The last Zelda game I played was whatever was on Super Nintendo.
Link to the Past.
Oh, sorry. I did play one on my DS at some point. I think it was like Wind Waker.
The only Zelda game I haven't... Well, the only two Zelda games I've never beaten are... There was one that is a Super Famicom only game that I do not read Japanese. And Skyward Sword, because god damn it, the Wiimote sucks. Sucks.
Wiggle.
Yeah, I'm like, I will play Skyward Sword when they release a version that they have taken out the control, because you didn't have an option. You had to wiggle your shit the whole time, dude. If I wanted to wiggle a controller all day, I would be going outside like a normal person. I want to sit inside with a controller.
Yeah, well, I totally, I agree. When I bought my Wii, it was like, yes, this is awesome, it's amazing, I can bowl and shit. And then I was like, I just want to sit down. This is stupid. I lied though. I played. What was the one that was like? Oh god, it was on Wii U. It was like Dynasty Warriors.
Oh,
Hyrule Warriors.
Yes, that was interesting, but I like it wasn't. Oh my god, this is amazing! But I played it at my buddy's house and was like, it's kind of cool.
Let me revise. I didn't finish that game, so 3. I own that game. I did not finish it because I don't like Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, it's interesting, but not very fulfilling.
I even played those shitty cartoon ones that had the awful story that were on the. I played them ROM'd, but they were on it's like 3DO, I think. Yes. Yeah. There were 2 of them, and they were terrible. I even finished those.
Did you watch all the cartoons from the Super Mario Brothers Super Show?
Yes,
I
I did, and they are all on Netflix, and they are fucking terrible.
I bet.
I remember waiting because they only came on the Link cartoons or the Zelda cartoons were only on Friday.
Friday, yep.
Yep.
So I would wait, like,
All week.
anticipate. I loved them as a kid, and then they released them all on Netflix. I went and watched them. Oh man, are they bad? Like
They did that with Nintendo Power also. Like every month there was the comics. There was Mario comics and Zelda comics, and like I would collect all of the issues and then like tear out all those pages and like staple them together and then read it all at once.
That's awesome.
So for some reason, if you don't remember in the cartoon, they made the princess and Link, Zelda and Link traveled like together most of the time, and they hated each other.
Yeah, I remember
for some
that.
reason. And every third line is "Excuse me, princess." He says that like 9 times an episode.
Yeah.
It's the fucking worst.
At
Didn't
least,
they have cereal too?
yes, they did. It was
Yeah,
Nintendo
it was,
cereal,
yeah.
and half the bag was Mario Brothers, and the other half was Zelda, or half the box. They had 2 bags in the box,
Yeah.
and then
yeah,
it
I
gave
remember
you
that.
cute little Easter eggs. Like it's how I learned you could make the star disappear or make the flower disappear. One of the two on the first level of Super Mario Brothers by popping the other one.
All right.
Yeah, I shouldn't
Good
remember
times.
that. That box was black. It's like the blackest box of cereal you've ever seen.
It also tasted like pain, like it cut your mouth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Captain Crunch in less friendly shapes.
And Captain Crunch is not friendly to start
No,
with. You eat
it's
a bowl
not.
of that without. Ugh.
All
Man, we
right.
tortured ourselves as children.
Yeah, but it was awesome.
Can I have a bowl of glass?
All right, so you can check us out on returntotheretro.com where we keep our website going. It should still work. It was working last time I checked. That was a month or 2 ago.
You're supposed to check the comments.
There's no comments to check. I get emails on the comments. I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, it still works. I just checked it. It's good. And yes, there's been no comments. No one likes us.
Super professional.
Right.
We are the most professional.
If you look at the website, it looks like we are. I mean,
It does. I actually really like the website,
I do a good job with that.
and I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, once again. All I did was steal a picture of you that I took while we were down there for your wedding.
Oh, do I have my sweet hat on? I haven't
Yes,
done
you
it in a while.
do. You're wearing
I
your
love
I'm a
that hat.
Keeper shirt.
I still have that hat. That's great. I do not have that shirt. It died.
Oh, it finally died? That was your
It
favorite
died.
shirt when I was down there.
I know. I actually got a second one, but the printing is not as good, so I don't wear it.
And then, what we got? We're on Twitter, at Return Retro. That's the other place you can find us. We have a Facebook group. I don't post there anymore. It's too much to keep up with. I'm a pain in the ass.
Well, then why would you say it?
Just so people know how terrible I am. That's all I got for this show. You guys got anything you want to say before we cut it out?
I'd like a second helping of rocks, please.
Do you want me to pour some milk on there and let it sit for an hour?
Please.
And then like an extra spoonful of sugar because
Yes.
we were children and monsters.
Listen, I had to have an orange and like this glass of orange juice and pancakes and eggs and a glass of milk on top of my cereal for the complete breakfast. Okay.
That's what they always showed. I never understood that. I'm like, who the fuck is eating all of that?
Right?
Yeah,
like
the
the bowl
one
of cereal
bowl of
with
cereal's
sugar on
good.
it, man.
Especially if they tried to serve me like cornflakes, not frosted flakes, but cornflakes, and then with no sugar. No, this is garbage. Bring over
Oh,
the
God, yeah.
giant coffee.
A raisin bran.
Oh, right. That's where I started putting
Bran had
sugar on my
raisins.
cereal. My mom
Yep.
bought Raisin Bran one time. Like, oh, you got to put sugar on this. This is sugar, just like a spoonful of actual sugar.
It's just like flakes of cardboard. Ugh, flavorless. And raisins. Like, ugh. Like, it's the worst combination ever.
Then I got into some weird crap when I was a kid. For some reason, I liked Cracklin' Oat Bran. You know, the food, the one that looked like dog food.
Are you sure it wasn't dog food?
No, I'm not completely. And then you had the.
Are you sure you're not just Wilford Brimley? Do you have diabetes?
No, do not have
Diabetes.
diabetes. Listen, I might sound old, but I'm not that old. Okay? I have more gray hair than anybody else I know my age, but I'm not that old.
I doubt you have more than me.
Oh, it's pretty bad, bud.
I don't think I have any yet.
You're lucky.
But I'm blonde, so
You can't tell.
My
now.
dad is 65 and doesn't have gray hair. His hair is brown.
My dad is 60 and has more brown hair than I do.
Yeah, my dad's in that area, and he's not too bad. A little bit.
It's terrible. Anyway, that's it for the show, guys. Thanks for coming. If you watch us live, which you didn't, because there's been no one in there but me, and I think Islane was in for a while. So
Yeah.
you all
Man.
suck.
Don't. Why? Positive. Positive.
No. We should just alienate the rest of the fans we have, right? Isn't that how this works?
Yeah.
Usually, the good thing is that you can edit most of this out.
I won't though.
He doesn't. He puts
Because
the
I
shit
think
up
it's
raw.
hilarious. No, that's not. I don't do that. Last show, I actually added your little diatribe. I forgot what it was about, but I added it after the credits and after the song. It was funny.
I don't remember what it was.
I
about
used to
either.
do that kind of shit with Ari all the time. She would do something stupid, and I'd throw it in the middle, or then I'd play like little sound effects and shit. Always fun.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right. Yeah, thanks for having me. Hey,
You can stay on
send
the
me
call.
a message where you want me to send the audio file.
Okay.
All
No
right.
problem.
See you guys later.